through many of those years. In the Olympic years in Berlin, we largely heard about things that took place, but we also had the opportunity to attend in the stadium and watch the events. And I watched Louis run 3,000 years in Berlin. And then we traveled by steamship both ways, 10 days or more on the water, all members of the team being on the ship together, and 10 days going over to Hamburg and 10 days coming back from France. And it was a wonderful opportunity. Everybody got to know everybody pretty much on those occasions, and then a big welcome in New York. So we knew lots of the folks as in passing, or then they tell stories about what they've done. And of course, Lou's stories of what had taken place were told by others on him, usually. And it was a great privilege. I was only 15, and for a 15-year-old to experience all this is something that, of course, has carried through my entire lifetime. And what I hope we can, and you are, bringing to the youth of this country, and have been doing for all these years, is keep it up.
Oh, bless your heart. I have to ask you, Jesse Owens was on that team, and now historically we look back and see how significant his performance was. Your thoughts about Jesse Owens, and then also tell us once again what it was like to watch Louis run that last lap. Everybody says, why would they make such a big deal about a man finishing 8th, but was there electricity in the crowd when he made that run?
Indeed there was. To see him pick up on the back stretch and come up so close and surprise them all. Of course, there was some little things going on too. And the quote that's in the book that Hitler spoke to him. He said, "Oh, you're the guy who caught up and ran from the back. You caught up the back stretch kick." And he was known for all this colorful performance. We also watched Jesse Owens in each of his events. We had the opportunity to be there close by and watch. And those were great moments to share with teammates, but also to watch what was history in the making.
Thank you, Iris. Cliff, tell us, how did you, there you go. Cliff, take your time. Cliff, tell us, how did you meet Louis, and what did you learn from Louis?
Well, I met Louis, thankfully, through John. Several years ago, we were doing an event up in Beverly Hills with the Southern California Olympians, and John had rang me on the phone and said, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you go pick up Lou Zamperini, please, and drive him to the event?" And I thought, oh my God, this is an incredible opportunity, because like many of us, we've heard so much about Louis. He's been a mentor for many people, and I read his book, Devil at My Heels, and I thought, wow, this is an incredible opportunity. So I went to pick up Louis, drove up Bronson to his home up there in the Hollywood Hills, and so I was nervous meeting Louis at first, and then I was also nervous because we weren't going to get to the event. He had walked me through his whole home, and I got to look up in that famous attic a little bit about his, showing a lot of his memorabilia from World War II, but that was my first opportunity to be able to meet a man of incredible greatness. And he meant a lot to me. I was going, a couple years later, I went through grad school at USC through Marshall School of Business, and there was a great connection because Louis, we got him to come out to the football day with Pete Carroll, and as everybody knows, he was an incredible mentor for all the kids at USC and the football program that they had there, and he meant a lot. And it was great being able to say, hey, by the way, I know Lou Zamperini, and he's going to come out with us to the field up there. So that was an incredible opportunity.
How would you describe him?
I just think that he was an extremely humble man, Louis was, all the time. And I remember he was a man of learning, and he basically set his life by example. I remember one time he told me, he said, never said Cliff, he always said Meidel. It was one of those things when I called him Meidel, And he says, you know how to stay away from sickness? And I said, how is that? And he says, every morning when I wake up, I always take some warm water and I put it into my hand and I put it up into my nostrils, and that's how you can get away from being ever being sick.
You had a lot of little gems of teaching. It's wonderful. Anita, I don't know if in 1976, when you were a competitive Olympian, if the Louis Zamperini story was forefront in your mind, but you followed Louis' story. You heard about him, and historically speaking, how does he compare to other athletes throughout Olympic history in terms of their story outside of the Olympics?
I guess he exemplifies so many Olympians outside of the Olympics because so many people have stories. I don't even know the guy's story, and I didn't tell it. I can't do that. And Olympians in my presence, they have to tell their own stories. And there are so many Olympians who have remarkable stories because you get to wear the uniform and your nation and compete with great pride, and the story of those teams is your story for the rest of your life. And you know that at the end of the day, people say of you, if nothing else, that you were a member of your nation's Olympic team, and that's such a privilege.
If somebody asked you, what was he like, what would you say?
He was a generous soul who'd been through so much. What's interesting to me, there are a couple of things that you cannot get. Well, there's more than a couple of things you cannot get in that movie. But they flashed the ring several times. That was his UFC ring. And the guy in Japan had gone to UFC. And so he knew the ring and recognized him. I know they focused more on the Olympics and the connection with the SC, the university. I guess it's the The other thing about him, it told you a little bit that he'd been through so much. You saw a tiny bit of what he went through, but he also said that he had a problem. He had a problem with alcoholism. He was drinking milk, not quite milk as a child, we learned. And he struggled with that after the war. And he, as they said, he found God. And that his promise was fulfilled. And someone else should tell that story. But he went through all of that. I met him, I hooked up with him in Nagano. He went, when the games were in Nagano, that's when he had a chance to meet his tormentors again. And he actually met the son of the bird. The bird would not leave with him, and the son was ashamed that his father would not leave with him because his son had been informed of the relationship between the two. And he said his only disappointment was that he wasn't able to, when I say this, you understand it, look him in the eye.
I'm going to share a two-part story with you about Louis.